Purdy, and I'm curious what your thoughts are. And they're both the touchdown throws to the running backs, where he had to scramble, it kept his head up, and knew exactly where they were. I thought the Mitchell one was even more impressive because he turned his head, and as soon as he whipped his head around, he knew exactly where Mitchell was going to be. So to me, that shows me a guy who has composure, yes, but also sees the play in his head as he's trying to deal with all these guys taking his head off, and he's calm enough to be able to deliver the ball on the money and get him in the end zone.
And I think it also shows young players who have that kind of headiness. They played a lot. Like, yes, did Brock play in college a lot? It's like, hey, he started for 4 years. Like, yeah, he's been in – when you're on the field in college, even in high school, when you're on the field, you're having to handle all this stuff. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And so in that way, you got a young player who actually played a lot of football in a major college with a lot of pressure. And then how do you play for 4 years and deal with all of it? So I think those plays do show. You can expect that of an older player, but when young players do it, you say how long they play in college, and that's usually a sign.
Yeah.
How much of the shaky first half was Brock, and how much was it Pete Carroll having a game plan second time through?
To me, the way that the advantage we have, and when we get to the Cowboys, I'm going to talk a little bit about this, but watching them up close and personal on Monday night, their offense is, I'm not going to say archaic, because that's inflammatory. But when I watch the innovative offenses of the day, which I think the 49ers would be one of the most innovative, and others in Kansas City and in Buffalo, I mean, I see innovative offense. This is not one of them. I guess that's the way to say it. And so when you talk about the early, was it Pete Carroll, or I think that when you're able to slow down the 49ers, you have seen them. I think that's the real advantage we have with the Cowboys this weekend is they haven't seen us in a year. And we come from so many different places, and the personalities now with Christian, we have another Debo kind of Swiss Army knife that comes from all places, and George is doing more. But I guarantee at the end of the fourth quarter, no matter what happens, the Cowboys are going to say, "Man, I finally got up to speed. I finally figured out what they were doing." And we have that advantage. And so when somebody kind of smothers us early, I feel like they've seen us, because you have to be able to stop us or slow us down. And the way that Kyle calls plays and prepares, especially the first series and the first quarter. You can see that we're ahead of everybody. They don't know what's happening. They're like scratching their head, and as they do that, Debo's running by them. I think that's my explanation, is seeing them for the third time. That defense they were up to speed on the uniqueness of and the innovation of who we are, and that's how I would explain that one.